Welcome to My Nest Podcast Channel.
Welcome to My Nest Podcast Channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Hi everyone, I'm Hazel.
And I'm Milo, and today we are going on a time-traveling adventure. We're going all the way back to ancient Egypt.
Whoosh! That's right. We're going to uncover the secret of one of the world's biggest wonders, the Great Pyramids. They're these giant triangle-shaped buildings that are thousands of years old.
They are huge. And for the longest time, people have scratched their heads and wondered, how on earth did they build them without any of the big machines we have today?
Exactly. Some people even joked that aliens came down and zapped them into place. But the real story is even more amazing, Milo. It's a story about people power and super smart ideas.
Ooh, I like people power. So who were the builders?
Well, for a long time, movies and stories made us think it was slaves who were forced to build them. But scientists and archaeologists have discovered that's not true.
Really?
Really, it was actually thousands of skilled Egyptian workers, and they were treated very well. Archaeologists found a whole town where the workers lived, with bakeries to make them fresh bread every day, and doctors to help them if they got hurt.
Wow, so they were like a giant, happy construction crew building a super important home for their king, the pharaoh.
It was a huge honor to work on the pyramid. They believed they were building a forever home for their king's spirit, a stairway to the stars.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about the blocks. The pyramids are made of millions of stone blocks, and each one weighs more than a car.
Whoa, more than a car? How did they even cut them out of the ground?
They had a really clever trick. They would find cracks in the rock, hammer in wooden wedges, and then pour water on them.
Water? Why water?
Because the wood would soak up the water and expand, getting bigger and bigger until pop! It would split the giant rock right off.
What about shaping the blocks? Did they have super-powered sanders?
Not quite super-powered sanders, but they had something just as effective. For the softer limestone, they used copper chisels and saws. But for the really hard granite, they used something even tougher, dolerite pounders. Imagine giant, super hard stones that they would use to pound and chip away at the granite, bit by bit. It took a lot of patience and strength.
That is so smart. Okay, so they have the blocks, but how do they move a block that's heavier than a car?
With big wooden sleds. Lots of workers would pull the sleds with ropes, but they had another secret trick. They would pour water on the sand right in front of the sled.
Let me guess. The wet sand made it easier to slide on.
You got it. It made it much, much easier to pull those super heavy blocks all the way to the pyramid.
Yes, for the special granite stones, they used big boats. They would wait for the Nile River to flood each year and float the giant stones on huge barges right to the pyramid.
But what about the special stones? Weren't some of them from super far away?
Okay, mind blown. So the blocks are at the pyramid. How did they get them all the way to the top? Did they have giant cranes?
No cranes. They used something much simpler. Ramps. They built long, sloping roads out of mud brick and sand that went all the way up the side of the pyramid.
Like a giant slide for blocks.
Exactly. And as the pyramid got taller, they made the ramp longer and higher. Some people think the ramp might have even spiraled around the pyramid, like a big, windy road going all the way to the top.
A windy road on the inside? Whoa, that's like a secret passageway.
Exactly, a secret passageway for the blocks. This would mean they wouldn't need a massive ramp on the outside, which would have used more stones than the pyramid itself. They could build the ramp on the inside as they went up. So clever.
And they did all this with incredible accuracy. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned almost perfectly with true north. It's like they had a giant ancient compass.
A giant ancient compass? How do they do that without GPS or, a compass app?
Teamwork makes the dream work. So they stack all these blocks up, and that's it? A big stone triangle?
Not quite. The last step was the best part. When they were done, they covered the whole pyramid in beautiful, smooth, white stone that was polished until it shined.
Whoa, so it wasn't bumpy and sandy like it is today?
No, it would have gleamed in the sun like a giant sparkling diamond in the desert, and the very top piece, the capstone, might have even been covered in gold.
A giant shiny pyramid with a golden top? That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
It truly was. And all of this incredible work was to create a special staircase to the stars for their pharaoh, to help him on his journey to the afterlife. They believed it was the most important job in the world.
So the secret to building the pyramids wasn't aliens or magic. It was thousands of hardworking people using teamwork and really, really clever ideas.
It just shows that people can do incredible things when they work together. That's all the time we have for our adventure today on MindNest.
Join us next time for another amazing story. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay curious.